Hey everyone, welcome. We're going to give it just a minute as folks get themselves into the room. So just hang tight. We're excited to present to you today. We'll get started in just a minute.
While we're waiting, if people want to put where they're from in the chat, just so that we get an idea of who we're reaching today, that would be awesome. Um, we love to see our global audience. It's super cool to see where everyone's from. So
Okay, why don't we get started? And in the interest of time, because we've got a lot of great material to go over, I want to say welcome and thank you to each of you for attending, for watching this after the fact on the recording. I know we have supporters of the program and the American Red Cross all across the globe, and not everyone can join us based on the hour that we're doing this. But thanks for taking the time to be here today. My name is Thomas Harper, and I serve as Senior Counsel in International Humanitarian Law for the American Red Cross here at our national headquarters in Washington, D.C. It's really my privilege to help lead this program, and I say help because the youth volunteers that you're going to hear from today, these youth advocates, as we call them in this program, are the leaders. They are the backbone of this program and our mission, which is to educate the American public about international humanitarian law. As we sit here today, there are more than 100 armed conflicts raging around the world in places like Ukraine, Israel, and Gaza, Sudan, and elsewhere. And perhaps it has never been more important that the framework of humanitarian spirit that IHL provides, that ability to rein in the destructive effects of armed conflict and really preserve and protect humanity in these dark times, is more important than ever. The youth advocates that you'll hear from in just a moment have taken the last year, and in some cases more than 1 year for those that have participated in this program in successive years, to learn about IHL, to learn about the theme of nuclear weapons and armed conflict for 2023 to 2024, and to take that knowledge and use it in their own communities by reaching their peers, by reaching their family members, by reaching their community members, to share that knowledge, to enlighten others, and to help inspire others to go forth and do the same. It's this spirit of grassroots activism, this spirit of grassroots dissemination that's the heart and soul of our entire IHL dissemination mission. And it's embodied in the creative and passionate works of our youth volunteers. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Sarah Tabor. She is one of our national headquarters interns for our IHL Youth Action Campaign, and she has been with the program for several years now and is based out of the Northern Virginia area. Sarah, please take it away, and thank you for all your leadership.
thank you so much, Thomas. And thank you everyone for being here today. This is an amazing special day every single year for our YAC program. I have been with the program. This is my third of the Youth Action Campaign Summit. This is my third year of being a YAC advocate, and I absolutely love it. It's something I've sort of fallen in love with over the course of my high school career. So it means a lot just to be here and to be representing all the amazing things that this program does and the young people that make it possible, including all of the people who are you're about to hear from today. It really could not make me prouder to be part of a group like this. So without further ado, we are going to start with our presentations that will represent each of the divisions of the Red Cross throughout America and what they did throughout this entire year with our topic of nuclear weapons and armed conflict for our IHL Youth Action Campaign 2024. So we will go division by division, sort of in no particular order, to see what happened throughout America and all the amazing things that our youth that are here today and those that are not here today participated in throughout their campaigns. So Southeast and Caribbean region is our first group. And take it away, CCAR. Hold on, let me change the slide. Okay.
Thank you, Sarah. Hello. Hi. Hi, everyone. Today we're going to be discussing the YAC engagements of the Southwest and Caribbean Division, otherwise known as the CCAR Division. Before we get started, I would like to take a moment to introduce myself and my fellow team members.
Hello, I'm Madison Staggs, student at Middle Tennessee State University. I was the team lead advocate for my school's Youth Action Campaign, and this has been such a great experience so far, and I'm proud of the project we have put together.
Hello, my name is Ariana Esteves, a senior at Adelardo Fuentes High School. I have been an active volunteer for 4 years now, but this is my first experience with the YAC Youth Action Campaign, and I have loved every minute of it.
Hello, I'm Maharis Hilfergata, and I'm a student at Florida State University. This was my 4th year as a part of the YAC program, and I've been participating in it since high school, and my 2nd as a lead advocate at my school.
Our goal for this presentation is to give you an overview of the youth action campaigns that have been carried out throughout our division. We highlighted the most impactful projects, the challenges they faced, the outcomes, and accomplishments. We wanted this presentation to showcase the hard work that students across our division have put in such a stressful campaign that has impacted so many people. Just to get a quick overview, the states highlighted in light blue are part of the Southwest and Caribbean Division. These states include Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the territory of Puerto Rico.
Throughout our division, the total number of engagements, both in person and virtual, came to be 4,756.
Although all projects and campaigns were important to the overall success of the Youth Action Campaign, we decided to highlight 3 outstanding activities. We will discuss one in Central Florida, Tennessee, and Puerto Rico.
The first outstanding activity that we would like to spotlight is the IHL Egg Hunt that was put together by Leonard High School in Central Florida. This activity had 2 teams, one civilian and one military, with each team needing to find different things. Throughout the hunt, team members educated participants about IHL information. This event was very successful and reached 300 people.
The next outstanding activity that we would like to highlight is the Red Cross Artillery that was carried out by the Mid-State Tennessee University, a game in which players are presented with military targets and civilian objects. They must bomb the targets using the bounds of YSL, using the knowledge received of the main International Humanitarian Law principles that were provided to them before starting the game. This game had an audience of 95 people or participants.
The final activity we'd like to highlight is the Nuclear Engineer Chat carried out by Adelardo Fuentes High School in Puerto Rico. This was a unique experience where students got to have a one-on-one chat with nuclear engineer specialist, Mr. Alan Rivera. The community was able to speak with him, ask him questions, and get insider information from someone working in this field. This allowed them to expand their knowledge and share what was learned throughout social media. This event had an audience of 40 participants.
There were some common trends and themes that we noticed throughout the many campaign projects we looked at. One major trend was the use of social media to educate and promote youth action campaign events. This was very helpful in increasing attendance. Another theme that was popular was the use of interactive breaks between lectures to keep the audience engaged. The use of Kahoot and other platforms were engaging for the audience in the way that it asked them questions about the presentations. Another significant trend was the use of both in-person and virtual events. This was flexible for people with different schedules, which helped increase attendance. Also, the use of emails and newsletters encouraged large numbers of people to get involved. Although there were several best practices, there was always room for improvement. Some aspects that teams felt that they could have improved on were sending out social media reminders in a more timely manner and having more effective communication between administrators, students, and advisors, which could have ensured a more successful campaign.
Some common challenges that arose within our division were finding meeting times that would work for the majority of our attendees, getting approval from schools and community areas to host events, not being able to get enough engagement with current marketing strategies, technology issues, and being able to organize activities so that participants could get the most exposure to the topic. Taking these challenges into account, we'd like to propose some advice for future YAC campaigning. Start planning and executing events well in advance so logistics and approval can be handled before showtime. Think about what events, whether they be social media based or in person, would reach the most people in your area, and see if you can collaborate with your local Red Cross chapter. And designate tasks to each team member so that all parts of the planning and implementation of campaign parts are accounted for, and set deadlines to ensure everything is done on time.
Today, we would like to end with a positive note, with a quote that states, "Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much." Before we explain what this quote means to us, we would like for you guys to explain in the chat what it means to you. Teamwork makes the dream work. That's a great one.
So for us, this quote highlights the power of collaboration and teamwork. How when people come together and combine their skills, they can achieve greater outcomes than what they ever imagined. It emphasizes the importance of unity and collective action in overcoming challenges and making significant progress. Thank you for all of your time and attention today. Your presence and engagement made this presentation truly rewarding. If you have any questions, please feel free to put those in the chat and we will answer them at the end of the presentations. We are the Southeast and Caribbean Division, and we will now pass it on to the North Central Division.
Hello, thank you so much for that quick for your guys' slideshows. And welcome to the North Central Showcase, hosted by me, Leanne, and Jonathan. Yes, so what is North Central Division? The North Central Division makes up North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, and other regions of the American Red Cross. Jonathan, are you there for that slide?
Yeah, sorry. So for our campaign overview, we've reached over an estimated 500 individuals impacted through speeches, events, art shows, presentations, workshops, and community outreach. These activities have connected us with diverse audiences, promoting our mission and inspiring action. And then campaign overview. And then advocates trained, it was 3 advocates trained, me, Leanne, and Michaela. And then campaign conducted. Our division has successfully organized 30 impactful campaigns across various regions. Each campaign focused on key issues such as education, health awareness, environmental conservation, and community development, ensuring a comprehensive approach to addressing community needs.
All right, yes, and this art piece is actually the winner of the Minnesota Youth Action Campaign art show. So there's that.
And then some unique activities held in the North Central Division consist of an art show where students presented artwork focused on nuclear warfare, a public survey testing the public knowledge on nuclear warfare, an educational table held in the communal lunchroom providing educational materials about nuclear warfare with snacks and rewards, and finally awareness posters put in high school hallways to educate students.
Yes. And also the goals for the division were typically to educate at least 100 people, raise awareness, and empower others to extend the reach further. And our delivery, however, was we successfully educated way over 100 individuals and spread awareness through various methods and trained others to continue spreading the information on nuclear wars and warfare.
Our impact. Over the past year, our regional advocacy efforts have made significant strides, particularly in Illinois, where we reached over 250 individuals. Looking ahead to next year, the Youth Action Campaign aims to amplify our advocacy efforts across all regions. Our goal is to empower the youth and take an active role in their communities, fostering a ripple effect of awareness and action.
Awesome. And then lessons that we learned throughout the campaign was also best practices to rely on your team for support, carefully plan campaign details, and maintain a positive attitude even when things do not go as planned. And often common mistakes, such as like failing to involve your team, lacking effective communication skills, striving for perfection, and poor planning. And also we gained some knowledge as well to keep an open mind. Not everyone may be eager to learn, but those who are willing to listen can be a key agent of change as well.
And for navigating obstacles and solutions, some challenges were throughout our region, we faced challenges with communication and audience accessibility. These issues hindered our ability to conduct and engage effectively, causing delays and misinterpretations. Addressing these problems is crucial for improving overall effectiveness. And advice would be to reach out to those whose permission you need well in advance, allowing ample time for research, planning, and execution. Manage your time effectively and maintain clear, straightforward communication with your peers.
Awesome. And some knowledge we gained as well throughout the campaigns all over the division, where also this year Youth Advocates and campaign leaders acquired extensive knowledge about nuclear wars and warfare, including their nature and global impact on communities and individuals as a whole. And some accomplishments that Youth Advocates and leaders successfully executed were campaigns spreading awareness and advocating for the nuclear wars and warfare issues, exclusively disseminating information both visually and verbally across the whole region.
And a quote we would like to end on is, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to count that it is the courage to continue that counts." And Winston Churchill said that. And this quote stood out to us because we believe even after reaching success, or in our case, educating others, is not the final step. This is because we believe that those we educate can further the knowledge they gained and take action.
So, and last but not least, we all want to leave you on one question today, which was, how can you make the world a safer place? Feel free to answer in the chat. And also feel free to go to the next slide as well. And thank you so much for your time. And of course, we'd love to welcome the Pacific Division for next.
Thank you so much to the North Central, and hello everyone. It's great to see you all here with us for the National Symposium. Today we'll be sharing the highlights and accomplishments of the campaigns from the Pacific Division. First off, a quick introduction to the team. Hello, my name is Marian Baum.
Hi, my name is Sagana.
I'm Lauren.
I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Emily.
We'll first give a brief overview of our division and stats, then we'll move on to the highlights of our campaigns, and finally we'll close off with future advice based on what we've learned this past campaign season.
To start off with the geography of our division, Pacific Division consists of 10 regions spanning 10 states and territories, which includes the states of Alaska, California, Hawaii, Idaho, Montana, Oregon, Washington, and 3 territories, which are Guam, Northern Mariana Islands, and American Samoa.
Next, we'll move on to the stats of our division. So this year we had a grand total of 46,000 participants. This is a huge increase of roughly 360% compared to last year. We additionally had the most number of participants out of all the YAC divisions this year.
So the first event we are highlighting is from the Cascades region, where they did a tabling event. Team Sunset Funset worked with the disaster services in the region to educate the Portland metro area about the Red Cross services, programs, and IHL at their Oregon Chinese Coalition Community Health Fair. This event was highly successful as they reached over 145 participants. This goes to show how this form of event, by just setting tables at your local fairs or even school fairs, can help reach a large audience in a very quick and engaging manner.
Our second event was a care package event from the Northern California and Silicon Valley region. The team collaborated with a local nonprofit called Great Grams to acquire the care package materials. The event was held at a local park and attracted high schoolers from all over the area. Together, the team and participants assembled 100 care packages in total, all containing various essentials such as toothbrushes, soap, and floss. The care packages were sent out to veterans through their local Red Cross, and although there weren't quite as many participants, the event demonstrated an impact even a small group can make on many others.
Another example of a unique activity that was organized is a paper crane making event. In honor of Sadako Sasaki, a young Japanese girl who died in the bombing of Hiroshima, schools in the Pacific Islands and West Bay shared her story and taught of the dangers of nuclear warfare, as well as the importance of IHL. Participants made paper cranes, which were then gifted to a Japanese nursing home with nuclear bomb survivors. This event had lots of participation, reaching over 215 people. Next, in Northern California and West Bay, YAC teams set up an IHL festival by organizing various booths with games and informational posters in public areas like a park, library, high school, and mall. A wide range of demographics was reached. From young kids to older adults, over 400 people participated in these events and learned some basic information about IHL. Finally, some other examples of past events. At Miraloma High School, a team set up an IHL escape room, while at West Anchorage High School, they promoted IHL at a freshman fair. And lastly, Del Norte High School set up a Q&A post-it wall at their local library, where people could reflect on nuclear warfare and the importance of IHL.
After taking a close look at all of the events, what we've gathered here are some common trends that we noticed among the most successful of campaigns. We noticed a lot of artistic projects, such as the cranes, care boxes, and hands-on activities. One school in particular donated those cranes to the Children's Peace Museum in Hiroshima, which is fantastic, and it proves their commitment to service. Aside from crafts, schools put together events such as escape rooms, obstacle courses, and even an IHL-themed Shark Tank show to take their informative events to a whole nother level. Another way successful teams enhanced their outreach was through social media, but with a clever twist. Not only would they do an incredible job creating these informative posts, but they would keep consistent with the posting schedule using a variety of catchy alliterations, such as Famous Person Friday, Shocking Facts Saturday, and World News Wednesday. Lastly, we saw that the groups went out in public to showcase their efforts had the most engagement. By setting up informative posters and events in places like malls, parks, beaches, and donation centers, they were able to reach audiences that they wouldn't have been able to if they just engaged solely with school campuses and social media.
This year of campaigning, Pacific Division had one of the biggest reaches out of all divisions in our past years. For the upcoming Youth Action Campaign, we wanted to increase these numbers. Our goal for every team in the Pacific Division is to reach at least 500 people through social media and events combined, and to host at least 5 events overall. As for the entire Pacific Division, we aim to reach 50,000 people, given that we were able to reach 46,000 people this past year of campaigning.
A few challenges that we faced along the way were getting initial engagements on team social media accounts and having virtual events with large amounts of participants. However, through teamwork and persistence, the teams were able to produce successful campaigns. So our first suggestion for future advocates would be to utilize the annual YAC theme well by observing issues in your community and your school when establishing events. Remember to use creativity to create events that interest your target audience. Our second suggestion would be to communicate with your team, since it is fundamental in producing a successful campaign. Although it may not be easy to keep up team motivation, try your best to incorporate different methods to engage your team. So here's our open-ended question. How can you build empathy in your own community? Feel free to put your answers in the chat. If we all choose kindness and empathy, perhaps more people will understand the importance of establishing what actions are moral and what are not during armed conflict. Now I will pass it over to my colleague Lauren for our closing words.
So in closing, this past year's campaign has been a deeply rewarding experience with lots of successes and highlights across the entire Pacific region. Through our various means of leadership, educational service, and advocacy, our participants have reached large audiences and delivered an empowering message for IHL awareness. I will now pass the torch to the Central Atlantic Division. Thank you.
Thank you, Pacific, for that wonderful presentation introduction. Hello and welcome to our presentation of the 2023 and 2024 IHL Youth Action Campaign for the Central Atlantic Division. So a brief introduction before we get started. Our team consists of 2 representatives this year. My name is Paris. I'm a rising freshman in college. I'm attending the University of Cincinnati this fall. I joined the Red Cross campaign last year in 2023 because my friend introduced me to it. And I'll now pass it over to Gabe to introduce himself.
Good morning. My name is Gabriel Fulkerson. I am currently a student at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University on Daytona Beach. I was the lead advocate for my team at Central Hardin High School in Hardin County, Kentucky. I first joined the Red Cross at the end of my junior year. Whenever I joined the Red Cross, I was contacted by an IHL YAC representative who asked me if I was interested.
Our division includes Ohio, Kentucky, Virginia, Central Appalachia, National Capital, and Greater Chesapeake. This year's focus was on nuclear weapons and their dangers to society and the law surrounding them. My team's name is Withrow Tigers for IHL. We are from Cincinnati, Ohio. We started our campaign in November of 2023. These 3 pictures showcase the process that our, along with other campaigns, follow. At the beginning, we would meet and get acquainted with each other. Then we would have discussions to learn more about IHL and its 4 principles. These discussions would educate and help us into our planning process. Ways to engage our audience, such as creating in-person online games, shooting an educational short film, free field to scan the QR code on the right to see that film if you would like, and making posters. The picture in the middle is an example of a poster I worked on to explain the detrimental environmental and human effects of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The final step of campaigning is to actually present to an audience at your school or a public place.
This was my team. So we focused more on in-person kind of TED Talk or college lecture style presentations, where I would give them a pre-survey and then I would talk them through a presentation and then give them a post-survey. On the left is my team just after we spoke with the Beta Club. I believe there were about 70 people in attendance that day. It was my largest public speaking venture yet. And on the right is the day that I presented to the JROTC. Next, we have the Central Appalachia Division. Here they are filling baggies up and giving them away, showing that IHL can be taught in many different ways, not just through presentations and surveys. And lastly, we have the National Capital and Greater Chesapeake region. Here they are folding the cranes just like the previous group stated, with the I'm sorry, I can't think of the word, the survivor of the bombings. Next, we have a brief summary of our stats. In my region, we reached 633 people through in-person surveys, and through a Google form, we reached another 186. In Central South Ohio, they reached 100 people in person and then reached more than 1,000 people online. And then we have the Greater Chesapeake and Central Appalachia region reaching 40 people in person, but garnering more than 1,500 instances of online engagement and 102 Instagram followers. So our takeaways are some things we learned as IHL advocates is that humanitarian law has been around much longer than the Geneva Conventions. Before joining the IHL-YAC, I thought that humanitarian law was strictly the Geneva Conventions, but a humanitarian law is any law for the purpose of limiting human suffering or trying to protect lives. And I believe that laws such as these can be traced back to ancient Egypt or ancient Mesopotamia, I believe is what I read. Another thing is that speaking publicly and effectively takes planning. Ignoring the innate nervousness that comes with public speaking, whenever we would try to freestyle and not read off our slides, often we would stutter or we would say things incorrectly. So speaking publicly takes planning. And lastly, one thing we learned was that a lot of people haven't heard about IHL. Whenever I would do my presentations and survey people, I would ask them if any of them had heard of it before. And I think the highest amount I got was 4 people that had heard of it. So with that said, not many people have heard of it, so it's our job to make a good impression so that we can make IHL stick in their mind, so it's something that they'll remember moving forward. Our advice for future advocates. Firstly, I would recommend broadening your surveying, or your surveying techniques. I stuck mostly to in-person presentations and a Google form. I didn't even consider Instagram as some other people or as some other groups have done, or held in-person events specifically for one topic relating to IHL. Another bit of advice I would focus on is not to stress about the big picture and take things take life one thing at a time. Whenever we were beginning, our group didn't do any surveying until December. Our coordinators were pushing us to start presenting and start doing things with people. And that really stressed us out and didn't allow us to work as effectively as we could have. In the end, we got more than enough surveys. So I just wanted to say not to be too burdened by taking things slower. And lastly, it's all about perseverance. There will be a lot of people who won't care or have never heard about IHL, and that's okay. Sometimes whenever I would present, I'd have people doodling on our surveys. I'd have people on their phones. I'd have people not listening and talking among themselves. But with that said, there were an equal number of people who would come up to me after my presentations and ask me further about IHL. So you have to find those people and not allow yourself to be disheartened by those who haven't heard of IHL before. I'll now pass it off to Paris so she can give her future advice.
I have 3 pieces of advice that I think future advocates would find useful. Number one, try to learn as much as you can for your topic. The more educated you are, the more questions you can answer for curious individuals. Number two, avoid procrastination. It's best to keep a balance between punctuality and effort. And finally, number three, learn that failure teaches success. Try not to be upset when things don't work out the first time. Maybe you're nervous when publicly speaking, or maybe people don't want to hear about IHL, as Gabe previously mentioned. So all of these things are basically just trials and error that build your character for your campaign.
As our presentation comes to a close, there are 3 questions we think that future advocates should ask themselves. Number 1, what more do I need to learn? In order to effectively educate others, you yourself have to know what you're speaking about on any given topic. You should know enough to be able to ask or answer any questions that anyone might ask. The next question is something they should ask their team. How can we improve our campaign? Even if you think your campaign is great, there are always improvements we can make so that we could further educate people in a better way. And lastly is what you should ask the audience, or what you should be asking yourself in relation to the audience. Why should they care about this topic? It's your job to make people care and to make it stick in their head. If, as I said, there are a lot of people who don't care, but we should find new ways to make it interesting and even make it fun for people to learn about. We'd like to thank you all for viewing our presentation, and we will pass it off to the Northeast Division. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. We're the Northeast Division.
So a little about us is that I'm Harsita. I'm currently from New York and I'm a rising sophomore. And a fun fact about me is that I love to play beach volleyball and run.
Hi, my name's Anish Moore. I'm from Pennsylvania and I'm a rising senior. A fun fact about me is that I'm a history buff.
I'm Olivia Dogan. I'm from New York City and I'm also a rising senior. And a fun fact about me is that I play lacrosse.
The Northeast Division includes New York, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, New Jersey, and Northern New England. The total engagement number was 6,209. The Northeast Division had many active campaigns. 2 examples of states that had active campaigns were New York and Pennsylvania.
So New York was super active and we had 3 prevalent teams among multiple high schools. And 3 schools were Bethpage, Stuyvesant, and Jericho.
As you can see below, these were the events hosted by New York. So I went to Bethpage and we did a lot of campaign work and we raised awareness about IHL. Some of my favorite things that we did was the Halloween event, where we targeted a large demographic from adults to little kids and we informed them about Red Cross and IHL. Another one of my favorite things was when we made paper cranes for Sudoku Sasaki, and we also had tons of in-person informational sessions.
So I go to Stuyvesant, and the main thing we focused on was just getting a wide range of different types of events so people wouldn't get bored, and different kids with different interests would be interested in the events we had. So for example, on the top left are submissions from an art and writing contest we did about IHL. So the kids who decide to participate would research IHL and then write. So that way they learn more about it and also apply their knowledge on it. Under that is photos from when we hosted Robert Bernstein from the Red Cross, who is actually here right now. So thank you for making a cameo, Robert. It's good to see you. And to the right of that are clues from a scavenger hunt we did. So I and my team members wrote a bunch of clues for an IHL scavenger hunt and then just spread them all across the school. And our school is really big because we have around 4,000 kids. So the people who did the scavenger hunt would take their friends and just go out during their free periods or after school or during lunch. And that was definitely the most popular event we ever had. Even in our Red Cross Club, almost everyone did it. So yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, 2 schools raised awareness on IHL actively: Garnet Valley High School, my school, and Springford High School. Below are some of the events we hosted in Pennsylvania. Now let's go over these images. The image from the top right corner is from a club meeting in which the Garnet Valley High School took a bit of a tangent from this year's topic. Basically, we wanted to bring awareness to IHL violations in areas that were not really reported by the news. The poster that these 2 folks created calls for attention to IHL violations in the ongoing Yemeni civil war. The poster from the bottom middle is from a club meeting in which students from the Garnet Valley High School went onto a website that simulated nuclear weapon drops on a map. Specifically, it showed the radius of the nuclear weapons damage, but also the radius of nuclear weapons radioactive fallout. Being there that day, that was a super impactful meeting because it showed that our tiny town of Garnet Valley could be impacted by nuclear weapons. And the poster from the right is the poster for Springford High School's charity basketball tournament. Even though all proceeds went to the Red Cross Club, some of that money went towards IHL related causes. So, okay. My school, we hosted a debate on IHL and nuclear weapons. And unfortunately, the other side, the side that was against IHL and for nuclear weapons won because that was the side where all the debate kids were on. This is a clip from that side.
Mutually assured destruction is what keeps us from not blowing each other up. But we can't delete nukes because then the idea of mutually assured destruction will be gone. If the United States blows up all of its nukes in like the ocean or something, and then Russia comes out of nowhere and does not delete its nukes, then the United States is cooked because Russia is just gonna absolutely like blow us up. So we can't really prevent that. And furthermore, how are we supposed to enforce these IHL commandments? We're talking about keeping people safe. We're talking about like not blowing people up, you know? But how do you enforce that this happens if you don't have nukes? What if one country has nukes and the rest of the countries in the world don't? The nuke country can.
So the goal for my campaign was to get as many students as possible familiar with the basic idea and principles of IHL, and then enrich that foundational knowledge on it with different types of activities. Because IHL is not something you typically learn about in school. So we thought it wouldn't make sense to just start off with like all these different things about nuclear war and how they relate to it when the kids didn't even know about IHL. So our main goal was just getting as many people as possible familiar with IHL and then teaching them about like the specific details.
In addition to what Olivia said, we also had general goals in the Northeast Division. These included engaging large amounts of audiences, educating students and teachers about IHL, spreading IHL regulations surrounding nuclear warfare, and creating a better society regarding IHL. All of these goals were met throughout the Northeast Division.
So there were some general themes and trends that were portrayed through most campaigns in the Northeastern side, and they're below.
Some challenges that were encountered with each campaign was keeping audiences engaged. As the student body progressed, as the school year progressed, the student body became less engaged with participating in events and attending events. This was seen particularly in my school, where we saw that the student body did not attend club meetings, and it was hard to engage them and make them participate in our club events.
Honestly, just organization was a bit of a challenge, but we overcame that. So a lot of things we got used to was hosting events virtually, for example, and we wanted to stray away from that. So it kind of took us a while to get used to that, and just making sure students who weren't able to participate in some events were caught up, and having a place to store all our ICRC like resources.
So planning was a huge issue. My school specifically, we had a food drive planned, But the thing is, it couldn't happen because we didn't do enough research on my school's policies on food drives. I think every IHL YAC team missed out on further success due to mistakes in planning.
Here are some final thoughts. I just wanted to preface this by saying that I'm extremely grateful that I got to participate in IHL this year, and it was extremely impactful. Being in the IHL YAC was an amazing experience for my first year of high school. It gave me like amazing opportunities, and I believe it's a great way to help around the world.
Yeah, IHL YAC was a super fun and super impactful program. One final thing I'd like to share is that in my state of Pennsylvania, there's only 2 active IHL YAC teams. So a goal that I have is that I want to create more publicity for this great program in my state.
So, yeah, this campaign was a lot of fun. I joined the Red Cross when I was in 8th grade, actually. And I remember looking into like IHL and the Youth Summit and thought, oh my gosh, like that's in forever if I ever want to do that. And it's just so weird to think that I'm here right now and doing this. And the campaign was just so much fun. And yeah, it's inspiring to work with everyone here. So I'm really happy to be here.
We'd like to thank everyone for listening to our presentation. If you have any questions, please drop it in the Q&A chat. Otherwise, we'll now pass it on to the Swarm Division.
Thank you for that warm introduction, Northeast. Welcome everyone to the IHL YAC Showcase for the Southwest and Rocky Mountain Division. And if those acronyms weren't enough for you, our division is better known as Swarm. So let's begin by going over the regions that Swarm encompasses. Below is a map of our division, which includes the regions of Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, Wyoming, Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, and 3 Texas regions, including North Texas, Gulf Coast, and the Central and South Texas region. The blue icons mark the regions where our advocates on this call are from. So we've divided the presentation into 4 segments. First, we'll introduce our team, then we'll discuss our division's reach, followed by highlighting some campaigns from this year, and finally sharing our closing thoughts before moving into another great year of YAC. So my name is Jacob Matthew. I'm 18 years old, and I'm based in Austin, Texas, which is part of the LC-Star region.
Hi, my name is Misha, and I'm 16 and based in Houston, Texas, which is the Texas Gulf Coast region.
Hello, everybody. My name is Preston Nguyen, and I'm currently 16 years old, and I'm also based in the Houston, Texas area, and I'm from the Texas Gulf Coast region.
Hi, everyone. I'm Salva Mirafsal. I'm 17. I'm based in Manhattan, Kansas, and I'm from the Kansas, Oklahoma region.
Hello, everyone. My name is Smalangi Sudhagari, a 17-year-old based in Gilbert, Arizona, from the Arizona, New Mexico region.
So we had a lot of reach this year. Our division, we covered over 5 regions in the US. We had over 8,500 advocates trained. We reached over 7,000 people through in-person events and over 35,000 through social media. And we conducted over 35 different IHL campaigns this year. So this is just our program growth. Just from last year to this year, we had a 12% increase in advocates trained.
Now we will talk about a few campaign trends that we saw across the various clubs in the Swarm region. First up, interactive activities. Whether it be in the form of cultural property basketball or Jeopardy, we reached a whopping number of 2,084 participants through games across the region. But like most things, our clubs needed money to help fund their campaigns. This came primarily in the form of fundraising. Teams organized bake sales, sold goodies, or face painted in return for promoting IHL through QR codes and pamphlets, which reached nearly 1,400 people, in addition to raising over $830. We would now like to take a moment to spotlight a couple of events across the region that really stood out to us. First off, in Arizona, at Basis Chandler High School, my school, we hosted Raid Cross in conjunction with IHL Movie Night and a canned food drive, as canned food was acted as the entrance fee to the event. Raid Cross is a military simulation in which students took on the role of military generals, combatants, ARC nurses, or humanitarian aid workers across the 4 different stations to experience firsthand the moral dilemmas of military decisions, principles of distinction and impartiality, and the risk of aid workers, respectively. This event reached a grand number of 300 students and 90 players. However, the event's success was based on hours of planning, dedication, teamwork, and perseverance through problem solving and creativity.
So, in honor of Sadako, 3 of our YAC teams shared her story and raised awareness about the dangers of nuclear weapons through various creative mediums. So, at University High School from the Arizona, New Mexico region, their team created a collaborative chalkboard. Students were encouraged to make a paper crane and contribute it to the border of the chalkboard. In return, each student who participated was entered into a gift card raffle. In the Kansas, Oklahoma region, Manhattan High School, which is my high school, we created a paper crane showcase. Middle school students participated in an interactive lesson on Sadako's story and made paper cranes with the YAC team. These cranes were then used to create a fixture displayed in the high school. And although not featured on the slide from the Arizona, New Mexico region, Horizon Honors High School created an impressive 1,000 paper crane showcase. This display was part of their efforts to facilitate educational dialogue at their school's annual Relay for Life event.
A project spotlight from the Harmony School of Advancement in the Texas Gulf Coast region highlights the remarkable IHL campaigns. They began with TikTok and newsletter interviews, sharing insights from students and teachers about IHL principles on social media. Their daily posts on Instagram and YouTube reached over 4,000 people. They also hosted weekly podcasts on IHL events like the Geneva Conventions, and authored and illustrated a children's picture book, which they published. Additionally, they created and presented educational presentations on IHL. The Israel-Hamas conflicts and armed conflicts are just some of the topics that they presented. Moreover, they used social media to promote an art contest. All of these activities were supported by daily posts, morning announcements, flyers, and brochures. Overall, they reached an astounding 31,652 people through social media and in-person events.
As a YAC advocate, your primary role is to create a meaningful campaign that effectively spreads IHL information. From my 3 years with IHL YAC, including 2 years as a lead advocate, my top advice for new advocates is that interactive projects are often the most successful, as highlighted in several division presentations. For instance, in my 2nd year, we held a Capture the Flag event on my school's soccer field. Despite the Texas heat, the interactive game drew more students and received better feedback than a Zoom lecture event. This not only fostered more memorable connections among participants, but also enhanced their retention of IHL knowledge. This leads me to my next point, that the venue can greatly impact the participation. For example, in the Capture the Flag event, if it had been held in the school gym instead of the outdoors, turnout might have been higher. Securing such spaces often involve connecting with community resources, such as your school's principal or civic leaders. Lastly, understanding your audience is crucial. Tailoring your projects to their interests, such as designing a Capture the Flag event specifically for high schoolers, is a great example. Now for lead advocates, the focus shifts to managing your team effectively. Staying organized and creating clear timelines is key. In my first year as a lead, prioritizing recruitment led to delays in the beginning of projects due to new recruits needing more training. This year, our chapter improved our planning by organizing teams into smaller project groups and implementing recurring recruitment cycles. This strategy allowed us to start projects promptly with veteran members while still providing opportunities for new recruits to join later. Additionally, our frequent communication with our coordinator ensured we had the support needed for our initiatives. The most important advice I have for lead advocates is to understand your team's strengths. For example, my team had a business-minded leader who found the best spot for a bake sale setting up near a children's museum where parents were likely to buy treats for their kids and be more receptive to learning about IHL from youth. We also had an introvert who wanted to develop their leadership skills in a less public way, so we assigned them to manage a small project team. And we also had a team with a passion for audiovisual production who took on the task for creating a trailer for our campaign. So as you can see, while most of our members weren't initially interested in law, this program allowed for us to share information about a lesser known topic and develop practical skills related to their passions. This is what makes YAC so special, not just compared to any other Red Cross program, but also to volunteering in many other organizations. YAC provides a unique creative outlet where people of all backgrounds and interests can contribute and connect. There truly is something for everyone here. So now I'll hand it over to Misha, who will discuss our new ideas.
Moving on to new ideas, our team came up with the idea to partner with civil societies in the future to make IHL YAC an even more esteemed program. We will be focusing on targeting groups such as local nonprofits that integrate efforts across health, education, and social services, and educational institutions that engage students and faculty by increasing involvement from local community. We can do this through activities like workshops, panel discussions with professionals, and networking sessions. This partnership can involve joint educational programs, awareness campaigns, and advocacy initiatives to build and reinforce connections with various community groups and organizations. One idea is to step up partnership with the United Nations. The UN is a valuable resource for IHL, as this law was passed in 1949 and is still governed by the ICRC. The UN tries to promote this law as it's becoming more and more important. And with youth, we can start with the first step by establishing formal agreements with UN organizations like UNICEF and Model UN, where students can enhance their experience with public policy. We can do this by encouraging advocates to take part on both areas of social media, attending in-person events like the United Nations Youth Assembly, and showing dedication through writing. For example, to contribute to a publication or highlight the impact of their local youth action campaigns initiatives. And finally, by having our students reach out to programs they're interested in being a part of, be an internship or simply a quick chat with a professional. And together we can promote international humanitarian law for everyone.
Thank you so much for your detailed attention. I will now pass it on to the Europe division.
Hello, everyone. We are here to represent Europe and present the YAC campaigns in the Red Cross Europe region. My name is Rachel Lowe. I'm 16 years old. I'm a rising senior in high school. I live in Germany, and I go to a school called Kaiserslautern High School, which is about an hour and 30 minutes from Frankfurt. I've been with the Red Cross for almost 3 years now, and this is my second year in YAC and my first year as a team lead for our school.
Hello everyone, I'm Camry Ehrman and I'm 15 and a rising sophomore in high school. I live in Aviano, Italy currently. As of tomorrow, actually, I'll be living in Charleston, South Carolina. And it's my first year in the IHL campaign, and I was the vice president for my youth club and took part in leading the team. And we also have another teammate, Alina Carney, who is also from Kaiserslautern High School in Germany, but can't make it today, unfortunately. Alrighty, so this is our region, which includes Spain, Germany, and Italy. All of these places are on military bases, meaning that the advocates are military dependents, and our main audience includes service members and their dependents. Throughout our region, we've had 8 different IHL campaigns with 1,826 interactions, which were all made possible by our 47 plus IHL Youth Action Campaign advocates. Here is the division breakdown. So in Aviano, there were approximately 250 plus interactions. There were another 271 interactions in Kaiserslautern, 150 plus in Roda, 147 plus in Stuttgart, and then there were 202 interactions in Wiesbaden. Now we'll go into some of the largest campaign activities throughout Europe. Take it away, Rachel.
Thank you, Kamari. So first, this campaign by Jalen from Visawana High School, and he created an IHL Minecraft server. And in this server, players would play following the rules of IHL. The aim for this server was to engage the younger generation and Minecraft fans into learning IHL in a fun and interactive way. We thought this was an amazing and creative project, which combined his own interests with his passion to advocate IHL. Next is from Kaiserslautern High School, and which I personally participated in. And we went to the Landstuhl Regional Medical Center, which is the main military hospital for Europe, Asia, and Africa region. And our main aim was to educate the staff working in hospitals and the patients in the hospitals about IHL. We visited many clinics and wards such as the emergency room, oncology, hematology, med-surg, pharmacy, and many more. We met many patients from war zones and veterans who served in war and had deep and touching conversation with them. I personally learned a lot myself, and my teammates learned a lot too.
Next up is the Aviano Sadako Paper Cranes Project. For this project, the other youth advocates in Aviano and I teamed up with students and teachers alike to teach them about IHL and create 1,000 paper cranes to make a display in honor of Sadako, a little girl who died of leukemia due to the bombings of Hiroshima. There was also the Seeds of Hope project, in which IHL advocates from Rhoda High School passed out seeds and informational flyers at their local naval exchange.
So some of our common goals in the European region were, so we aim to lecture students in our schools because we thought that military kids should be educated about IHL as they live and attend school on military bases. We also wanted to educate people in the military and the younger generation about IHL. And we did this through engaging in interactive activities to optimize learning and understanding of IHL. So next we will be going over our common trends and themes. So most of our campaigns focused on community, and we focus on interacting directly one-on-one with the people. We thought that this was important because we thought educating the military and related government staff, especially today, is important. And we did this through booths at our local base exchange and Navy exchange, and we provided incentives if they participated in the activity, and we also provided information on pamphlets. Now we'll be going over challenges throughout our region. So most of us had late starts to our campaigns and disapprovals from school administration because people in military bases can be sensitive about this topic, especially this year's theme. And it was also difficult to campaign outside the military base due to school security policy. We also had trouble with audience engagement. And learning from this, we hope to start planning campaigns earlier and executing them earlier. We also plan to inform and talk to the school administration beforehand and settle disputes before. And personally, I learned a lot through the past 2 campaigns that I did. I learned a lot about public speaking and developing my own voice. And of course, I learned more about IHL. And I come from a military family. And I thought that this was extremely helpful information and useful information. And I hope to have an even more widespread campaign across Europe to help people like me. So now we'll be going over our interactive portion. And this is the first question. How many paper cranes were folded? A, 500, B, 1,000, C, 250, D, 700. Type your answers in the chat. I'm just gonna wait a couple seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the answer was B. I think most of the people got it right. Congratulations.
All right, next up, which is not included in the YAC Europe division? A, France, B, Italy, C, Spain, or D, Germany? All right, the answer is A, France. Good job, everyone. And that concludes our presentation for today. Thank you for listening, and we'll now pass it over to the Asia Pacific region.
Thank you, Europe Division, and good morning, noon, evening, or whatever time it is that you are viewing this from, and welcome to the Asia Pacific region. Before we start the presentation, allow us to introduce ourselves. I am Sienna Eggman, an upcoming senior, a proud representative of Iwakuni Japan's team, and a second-year IHL Youth Action Campaign team leader. Fun fact about me, I love reading and singing. I'll pass it over to Mia to introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Mia. I'm currently located in Kailua, Hawaii, and I am a rising senior. This is my first year participating in YAC Summit. And then a fun fact about me is that I play water polo.
Thanks, Mia. So for today's presentation, we will be going over these 6 chapters. Like the Europe Division, the placements of all Asia-Pacific teams are on military installations with the audience consisting primarily of service members and their dependents. There were 2 locations that encompass the Asia-Pacific region, one from Japan in the Marine Corps Air Station Iwakuni, the team that I'm from, and one in Korea, specifically in the military base U.S. Army Garrison Daegu. Additionally, Mia is from the Mid-Pacific, which includes Hawaii. Disclaimer, however, Hawaii is a part of the Pacific region, not Asia Pacific, but we'll be going over her portion in today's slides. We had a whopping 5,000 interactions over the course of the 23 to 24 year. So starting off, the first team we'll be introducing is MCAS Iwakuni. Our team name was the 1,000 Atomic Cranes. We had 6 members, 3 base-wide events, 1 school-wide event, and 22 social media outreach events. So for our base-wide events, we had a wide variety of activities which covered IHL topics in a unique way for each. For the annual pet walk and the purple of event, we had an array of IHL facts and discussion of nuclear weapons and energy. For the amazing race, however, we focused primarily on the principle of distinction. For the Amazing Race and annual pet walk, we had a total of 23 participants, and our Purple Up event held the highest amount with 126 participants. I love the reactions in the chat. Next was my personal favorite event, which was a school-wide crane making competition that received 498 participants. Here's a short clip of the video we made to promote it.
And I will be showing you how to make a paper crane out of origami. And so first off, you need to make sure that the colored side you want to show on your paper crane is on the opposite side you'll be folding.
Shout out to Leah, everyone. We wanted to highlight the story of Sadako Sasaki in a fun and competitive way. So moving onwards, our social media outreach was a 3-week campaign. We posted on our individual Instagram accounts for a total of 11 posts and 22 quizzes. Our statistics included 3,870 views, 729 interactions, 467 correct answers, which led to a 64% accuracy. We had a wide variety of content, of course. So 4 posts included nuclear weapons, 5 were IHL principles, 2 posts were Geneva Conventions, and 1 post for our girl Clara Barton. We faced many challenges, with these being the most hindering. It included some difficulties with supervision, packed schedule, a prolonged social media outreach, and a limited amount of people. However, despite this, we learned many lessons and insight for next year. The next team we'll be highlighting is the US Daegu and Winter Events. Their team name was Area 4 because they had 4 team members and a total of 4 events. So for their winter events, they had 125 participants, which included Hot Cocoa for Humanity, in which they created a poster board with information about IHL, and they asked questions and gave Hot Cocoa for right answers. They also had a YAC presentation in which they taught youth volunteers about IHL and did trivia.
So Daegu also faced some challenges, specifically in a lack of creative advertisements, unfortunately leading to no participation in their art competition, as well as no social media presence, and a lack of time management, which again, unfortunately led to the fall through of their planned US history class presentation. But despite this, their two winter events went smoothly, and the team will be all the more stronger and prepared for next year. That's all from me. I'll hand it over to Mia.
Okay, hi everyone. Like Sienna said before, Hawaii is not part of the Asia Pacific region, but we're kind of tying it in. So welcome to Hawaii. We had 4 members this year and we did a total of 4 events: the Origami Crane, Candy Cane Project, the IHL Gathering, and then Jeopardy Game Night. So our largest event was crane making. We had a total of 340 participants. And during our club meeting, at my school specifically, we all created paper cranes and all wrote about facts about IHL inside of them. And then we handed them out to peers and then posted pictures of the facts about IHL on our social media accounts, which added up to our 340. Then our other events that we did was our candy cane project. So kind of tying in with the holiday season, we decided that candy cranes would be a great idea. So we put facts about IHL on top of the candy canes and then again passed them out to peers as well as images posted on social media. We found that social media really helped with outreach and also passing out items. One, they get the item, and then 2, the little facts posted, so people were more inclined to read them. And then IHL Gathering, we had a total of 14 participants. We held an in-person and hybrid gathering to discuss topics with IHL instructors from around the state and then YAC advocates. And then our last one was a much smaller one, but it was a Jeopardy game night. And then we held a virtual game night to help teach the different parts of IHL to make it more interactive. Okay, so we definitely faced some challenges, but we did it in the end. So some of our challenges that we faced were it was difficult to receive school support. I go to a smaller public school, and then we were the first Red Cross Club at our school, so we kind of faced some challenges getting approvals and things like that. And then we all had busy schedules. We had one person located in Texas, one on the Big Island, so we were all kind of doing our different things. And then, like I said, smaller school settings, some homeschooled, some private school, and then meaning smaller numbers, but all numbers count in the end, and we definitely did it. So some good practices and advice that we have are 40-60 rule. So definitely that was key and super important to planning purposes and advertising. Then SMART goals. It's always important to keep goals in mind so you're working to achieve. And then start early. I cannot stress that enough. The later you start, the more hectic it gets, especially when you have busy schedules and you're all not the same person. So you kind of have to collaborate with everybody. And then building upon ideas is super important, which kind of goes with being flexible and keeping an open mind. So working collaboratively with people, these are super important to kind of get things done and get them done successfully. And then ask questions. The only way that you're going to learn is through asking questions and being curious. And so the more questions that you ask, those questions might be repeated later, and now you'll be able to answer them. And then Sienna will go ahead and talk about the Sergeant Highway.
Oh yeah, so in case you don't remember Sergeant Highway, it's from the movie Heartbreak Ridge, which is where the quote, improvise, adapt, overcome comes from.
And then 2 quotes that we thought stuck out to us personally is that all failure is failure to adapt, all successful is successful adaptation. So like I said before, adapting, we definitely faced some challenges, but we still were able to complete so much, and 5,000 is a lot, especially being from smaller locations. And then each one of us can make a difference, and together we make a change. So we all individually come with our own backgrounds and own perspectives, and together we can create something bigger and successful and help others. We're gonna skip that slide, but yep. And now we'll pass it on to JROTC.
Thank you so much, Asia Pacific. So hello, everyone. We are the Franklin High School Warrior Battalion, and we are this year's JROTC representatives. First of all, what is JROTC? The Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps is a high school program sponsored by the U.S. Army, combining class instruction with extracurriculars, promoting physical fitness, teaching military history, discipline, drill ceremony, and first aid. Our program's goals are to develop leadership, promote citizenship, encourage personal responsibility. So who are we? We are proud to represent the Warrior Battalion from Franklin High School in Somerset, New Jersey. Our battalion is dedicated to excellence, leadership, and community service. Now I'll introduce our team. So first of all, we have Cadet Narayan, who will attend Keene University in the fall for poli-sci and pre-law. Cadet Ethan Ragbeer will be attending the College of New Jersey for mechanical engineering. Cadet Sophia Peralta, also attending the College of New Jersey, will be studying public health. Yafrela Escalante Nova will be attending RVCC for nursing. And I am Cadet Jordan Thigpen, and I will also be attending the College of New Jersey for biology.
So how does JROTC connect to IHL? JROTC and IHL are related through shared focuses such as ethical leadership, respect for human rights, as well as the importance in discipline, respect, and responsibilities, which all align with the core tenets of IHL. These values help JROTC cadets in having a sense of moral responsibility and awareness of international laws. This is an example of just of our few core curriculum lessons that demonstrate connection between our program and IHL. As you can see, leadership, citizenship, and human rights are some connecting factors. These are our campaign requirements. The campaign should be quality-based, address the needs of the community, encourage cadet participation, tied to our high school goals and supporting outcomes.
So what did we want our community to gain? We wanted our campaign to address a real and important need, wanted it to be interesting and challenging, connect to others in the community and the world, challenging cadets to develop new skills requiring little to no money, achievable within our time frame, available logistics and the ability to see our progress, and having a positive effect on others. Our battalion organized a competition to create a brochure explaining international humanitarian law in simple terms, providing resources for further information. We then shared this brochure across various social media platforms, reaching over 10,000 views.
We selected this brochure as our competition winner. Our next project, we provided cadets with case studies from the Red Cross directly. After teaching them what IHL is and how they themselves can make a change, students took turns coming to the front of the class, informing the rest of the cadets what they have learned about IHL and the importance of implementing IHL in war zones.
So for our second to last campaign idea, we set up a table in our school's events lobby and had the ability to present a trifold to people who came up to us and people who walked by. We talked to approximately 100 parents, teachers, and guardians that day. For the last portion of our campaign project, we compiled a video over 8 minutes long which details every part of our IHL journey, from working with very little knowledge on the subject to a fully formed campaign. Our project video includes testimonies from multiple cadets and faculty, explaining our process and showing our JROTC showcase team hard at work. So unfortunately today we do not have time for the video, but it was a great portion of our project's conclusion. Overall, these were the common lessons we found that this campaign project taught or reinforced among us. We challenged and enhanced our skill development. We developed a refinement of our views, and we also encouraged selfless service and the need of others. So our entire team is made up of seniors who have jobs and participate in various extracurriculars. Because of this, we had various scheduling conflicts. We also faced a generally decreased motivation among cadets due to factors outside of our control. To combat these issues, we made sure to become more organized, keeping our planning on top, and kept things engaging for all of our students. This is a statement from a teacher at our high school who reached out to us post-completion, and he had many great things to say as an expression of his appreciation for our time and effort. He also noted that he loved how our cadets made the information, presenting it as objectively, not as propaganda. So general consensus of our project on cadets' feelings were that they felt incredibly concerned during the research of the dangers of nuclear weapons that they had previously been unaware of, and came out with more knowledge as well as a wish to inform other people. Cadets were also asked how the Service Learning Project, or our IHL project, positively impacted them. Responses varied, of course, but many agreed that the project opened their eyes to other perspectives and taught them more about how they can spread awareness. We also sent out an anonymous form to the cadets asking which of our values they felt they understood better following the campaign. As you can see here, teamwork, organization, and leadership were our top 3.
So was our campaign effective? Our team came to the conclusion that our campaign had some areas to work on, but overall, we gave ourselves a 9.7 out of 10 for spreading awareness in our community. In reflection of our project, we rated ourselves the highest in each category for awareness, impact, application of concepts, and community responsibility, working to the best of our efforts.
We completed our last year in the program at Franklin High School, and these were just a few pieces of advice we gave to our underclassmen. Take things slow, comprehend what you do and learn, communicate with each other, work together, and ask questions when you need to. There is never any shame in asking for help. Thank you all so much for listening. If you have any questions, please drop them in the chat or in the Q&A, and we will now pass this back to our Red Cross interns.
Thank you, JRTC. That was amazing. And congratulations to all of our division representatives. They are done with their showcase presentations, which is a huge portion of the entire YAC or YAC Summit experience. So congratulations and thank you guys for your hard work over the last month. I wanted to highlight something about all of these individuals who you just heard from. They have spent the last month working on this presentation and other responsibilities throughout the YAC Campaign Summit during their summer break. So I think that's pretty amazing that so many students came out during their time off from school just to dedicate themselves to this campaign. And it really goes to show how much this whole campaign means to everyone here. So just wanted to highlight that and could not be prouder of everyone. You guys did amazing. Also, I wanted to remind people to drop questions, any questions you have into the Q&A box. Maybe not into the chat because they tend to get lost, but we'll try to, fish them out to make sure that you guys all have your questions heard because we will have a Q&A portion after this for probably the last 30 minutes of our time here today. So thank you guys. We just wanted to give, Aria's not here, but we will hear from her in a video. We wanted to give an overview of what our intern experience was. We do this at the end of every showcase, or as far as we've been interns for the past 2 years, just to show our perspective as leaders in this organization and sort of give that. So without further ado. So I will go first. I am a YAC intern. I've been a YAC intern for the past 2 years. I absolutely love this job. This is like the highlight of my summer every single year. I'm also part of the National Capital and Greater Chesapeake region. You heard the Central Atlantic Division talk about my school, McLean High School. We had a great campaign this year. And it's super fun. That's the real reason that I dedicate myself to this job. Isn't really for the summer part, it's for the actual campaign that happens throughout the year, which is the major part of why we run everything that we do. So throughout my intern experience, as I was running the campaign at my school, I also did some judging for the art and essay competition, which I'm sure a few of us today submitted to. So we got to read all of this amazing art see all of what people had been creating in the art and essay competition, which was super cool. Also the pin design contest. Aria and I got to look at that and see everyone's takes on what a pin design could be for our summit this year, our campaign this year, which you will get to see in a couple weeks, if not already. The IHL YAC Summit has been my main thing for the past couple months. So I've helped with the writing team, which anything that you see written or like published is written by the advocates. So kind of helping them do that and, you know, navigate press releases, different ways of writing in a corporate setting. That has sort of been my thing. Political discourse, our advocates had an amazing opportunity to talk with a congressman, people from representing the UN, the ICRC, the State Department, and even a Hiroshima bomb survivor. And that was an amazing opportunity and an amazing thing to see our advocates just do great with. And then also these showcase teams, the Europe, Central Atlantic, North Central, JRTC divisions all worked with me to come up with their showcase presentations. So that's sort of how I've been supporting during Summit. And then of course planning for in-person Summit, which is next week, and I'm so excited for. So that's my intern experience. If anyone has any questions, advocates included, feel free to drop them in the chat. But yeah, we'll get to Aria's video and tell me if you can hear.
Hi, my name is Aria, and I'm one of the IHL YAC interns along with Sarah. And my YAC internship experience lasted 2 years, so I know it's a wild story, but my experience is like insane. Like, I love this program so much. So for example, this year I'm in charge of airport arrival, which is going to be like epic because I'm so excited to meet all of the advocates, like, and cadets too. Like, we can't forget about our JRTC group that's also from New Jersey. Shout out New Jersey. And because I'm from the New Jersey region, so like Northeast Division, you guys rock. But anyways, my internship experience was like kind of different, kind of similar to Sarah's, but like I was in charge of selecting advocates this year, and I was on the basically I was on the selection committee with a bunch of other panelists to select you guys, like the advocates who are in our program this year in the hybrid summit. How awesome is that? And also I'm like the communications intern, so I'm in charge of Instagram. I host the program podcast, and I do a lot of other things too with the program. But if you would like to be an intern, feel free to reach out to me or Sarah for next year, or you could just reach out to Ashley and email her directly. And that's it for me. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your summit, and I can't wait to see all of you guys in person next week.
All right, ditto for me. I can't either. So let me see. We're gonna have a couple of our sub-team interns and team leaders come and introduce themselves too. These are advocates who participated in Summit last year and are coming back to help lead the virtual portion of Summit. So take it away, Arushi.
Hey guys, I'm Arushi. So my experience has been pretty different from Sarah and Arya. I started working really earlier this summer with the Summit stuff, but I was an advocate for the past 2 years and I went to Summit last year. Summit was just an amazing experience, and I couldn't wait to help make that experience as amazing for other advocates this year as much as I enjoyed. So in terms of what I do, I'm from the Georgia region, so I served as the Deputy Regional Coordinator this year. And I'm also on the podcast team with Arya, so I host episodes every so often. In terms of the virtual portion of Summit, I helped out with the Southeast and Caribbean Division Showcase presentation. So the team that presented earlier, I was the one working with them, helping them out with their rehearsals, all of that. And then I was also the co-lead of the writing team. So as Sarah mentioned, all the press releases, all the thank you emails, every piece of writing going into this is all done by the advocates
We're just kind of here to oversee them, help them out if they have any questions, help them edit their pieces. But overall, this was an amazing experience, and I can't wait to keep working with the IHL YAC program.
Hi everyone, my name is Lipika. I also worked with Sarah and Arya with the interns. I'm also like one of the team leaders. I had a wonderful experience with this program. Just a little bit about me is that I am a IHL coordinator for the North Texas region. I also do podcasting with Arya. And some things I just put like the IHL art and essay competition, the pin design thing from last year's campaign. So just forget about that. I just kind of did that to know that there's multiple options you can do when you're campaigning, not just your campaign. You can participate in competitions and design competitions, things like that. As terms of what I did for the virtual part of Summit, I was, in charge of the Swarm division, and I did the communications team as well. And I'm so excited to see what happens with the next IHL and can't wait to work with y'all more.
Okay, we don't have any more slides for interns, but I did want to shout out Payman, Natalie. We'll also have Megan and Jonna joining us. Oh, sorry. Payman, Natalie, and John V. We're all also sub-team leaders who I don't think are on today, but if you are, please interrupt me.
I think I added my slide, but I'm not sure why it didn't show up.
Maybe it was, okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I can just talk. So I'm Jami Donaker. I'm from Michigan and I'm the Southeast Michigan IHL coordinator. I've been a part of YAC and IHL for 4 years now. And last year, as part of the summit, like Sarah had mentioned, I worked with the communications team, the writing team, and I was part of the North Central Division Showcase. This year, I helped the advocates in communication, pop culture, and I worked with the Asia Pacific Division Showcase team. And a couple of takeaways, being a part of both, being an advocate and a team leader, I learned about so many things that I feel like I've been sheltered from my whole life. And I can't wait to go on with this program and see how it grows. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, thank you so much, Javi. So we will also have Jonna and Megan in person at Summit. They are JROTC cadets who represented last year. And I don't think they are on this call today, but they are awesome. So without further ado, we can get into Q&A. I think I'm going to stop presenting the slides so everyone can see that we have a Q&A slide. That's good. But I will stop sharing and you guys can unmute, ask questions. Yeah.
So Sarah, the attendees are muted, but we've got a couple questions in the Q&A. So the first question is going to be just like multiple questions in the question. So the first is there a significance behind the 1,000 paper cranes? Sienna, you're our resident paper crane guru. Can you address
Yes,
that?
I would love to answer that question. So, yeah, like a bunch of our advocates have done like a campaign making 1,000 paper cranes, and some people might be like, whoa, 1,000 paper cranes, do you do just for fun? But actually it after the Hiroshima bombing, a girl named Sadako Sasaki was diagnosed with leukemia, and it is a Japanese legend that if you make 1,000 paper cranes, you'll be granted a wish, and her wish was to be healed from leukemia. And so she did make 1,000 paper cranes before she eventually passed away. And so what our Youth Action Campaign members have been doing in order to honor her and to represent the theme of nuclear weapons and armed conflict is to make 1,000 paper cranes to show her story. So yeah, I'm from the Japan region. Hiroshima's an hour away from me, so it's definitely a topic that I am a part of. So yeah.
Thanks so much for that great answer. So this is up for grabs. Maybe multiple advocates can chime in as well. Can anyone share their own experience about how this program helped them learn more about IHL? Did it shape how you read things in the news?
Oh, if someone can go, I can go after since I just answered.
I was just gonna say that I guess participating in this program especially made me realize how wide-reaching IHL is and how many different campaigns are going on like throughout the country, throughout the entire year. How everyone kind of works together to try and spread awareness about this topic. And then as for how it shapes things I read in the news, I think it definitely adds a new perspective because before being involved with this program, I had no clue what IHL was. I didn't know it existed. And then hearing about it from Red Cross, it made me kind of look more closely at the news and how lots of the events that go on in the world right now very much violate IHL and aren't really humanitarian and are not good. So I think it does definitely impact how I read news. And I've learned a lot through this program and definitely plan on continuing. So yeah, that's my perspective.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I just wanted to kind of hop on and kind of ditto what Marion said. I think being a lead advocate for my school's chapter, it's especially like when we were looking for more events to do regarding IHL, like that kind of forces you in a sense to learn more about the topic because I think someone said this in their presentation, but you can't really teach anyone about IHL unless you know the full all about it yourself. So it's definitely like caused me to reach out, look at more articles, really dig in deeper. And then in terms to the news, it's like, wow, it's really happening all over the place all the time. And it's genuinely ironic that something so widespread and so important is so easily ignored because like for me, before I got into the YAC program and IHL, like it wasn't even something I took into consideration.
So I think for me, learning about IHL, so kind of backing what everyone else has been saying, I was not aware of IHL before I started my campaign a couple years ago. I just found out about the program by chance through the Red Cross Club at my school. And they were like, we have this opportunity if y'all want to get involved. So I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And I got involved. And it never occurred to me that on the surface, IHL seems like it's just there for military protection, but I never realized how much it can impact me as a civilian. And I think in terms of the news, and especially my history classes, looking at historical events, what's happening now, you kind of look at it with this other lens beyond just this is what's happening. You really start to see it through this lens of IHL.
I completely agree with that, Arushi. I'm also a military kid. My first summit, I was representing the Europe region, where Rachel and Kamari are from. And I feel like getting into IHL, it was introduced to me from the posture of we're military kids. This is affecting, our families, our community, people surrounding us, because they're military. But realizing that like as I've gotten deeper and deeper into the program and deeper into really the topic at hand, how much it affects just the world population in general, is striking and really important. And just goes to show how much this work matters. Even when, we're being silly and, having like movie nights and, talking about IHL in different ways, it's really important. And I'm very glad that this is an opportunity that all of us have to, participate in.
Outstanding. So the next question is for the Europe division. You mentioned getting some pushback from local community leaders about YAC or your campaign activities. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that? Like what did that pushback look like?
Yeah, so in my school, because I'm in high school, we have to get approval to like do anything like club related. And when we brought it up to the school administration, we have like a lot of veterans in the school administration, and they were a little iffy on the topic because it could like trigger some memories back, especially like this year saying nuclear weapons and armed conflict. And that was their reasoning. I tried to convince them that it was all for like peace, but they just didn't want anyone to be triggered by that memory. So yeah,
Thanks for that.
I think that answers the next question too, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good lead into the next question, Rachel, which is what were the challenges that some of you faced about trying to learn and handle this really heavy topic of nuclear weapons?
It was definitely hard to get like because it is a sensitive topic in today's time and age. I felt that it was difficult to like deliver it in not an offensive way or anything that like might trigger memories or anything like that. So I felt that that was a challenge.
Yeah, thanks, Rachel. I definitely agree with that. For me, as I said, I live like an hour away from Hiroshima, so the topic of nuclear weapons is basically surrounded. It encompasses our base. So it's hard to not escape, or it's hard to escape the weight that comes with the topic. So, in my experience, I found it best to just embrace the fact that it is challenging. Like you have to accept that this is like incredibly disheartening. This is disastrous. And I think honestly, I think that challenge of having it being a burden and having it being really difficult to handle makes us more empathetic, and definitely made me more empathetic as a Youth Action Campaign member. So just like embrace the feeling and learn that that is why we have to raise awareness. That is why we are here.
Yeah, and sorry, I just wanted to quickly build off of what Sienna just said. That was amazing. But challenges in terms of, because I know there were a lot of campaigns that's also mine as well that went out and presented to younger audiences. Challenges specifically with making sure we were giving them that content, but we were also approaching it through the lens of this is a younger audience that may not be that they may have not been faced with such mature topics. So just adjusting it to that younger lens, but still making sure they understand the significance. It was brought to our attention that one of the middle school teachers was saying that a lot of students just throw around like nuke, like let's nuke them, let's do like those types of phrases. So we did have a section where we explained to them that this is not okay and this is the significance. But yeah, approaching it through that younger lens, especially when presenting.
Thanks for sharing all around. So this is our last question that we'll have time for. Was there a moment, a single moment, or maybe a memory that any of you could share where you realized that you were having an impact on others?
I think I can jump in here. I go to a very small high school, Basis Chandler. And so when I first decided to restart IHL as part of our Red Cross Club, I had a lot of opposition from like teachers and to a degree, almost students as well. And I say that like nobody really knew about what IHL was. They didn't know if it was worth like the club space to give me the opportunity to start the club. And I think, and we started off as a club of like 11 kids. That was it. And I think like throughout the year, just like me talking to my friends about it, us organizing school-wide events, we had the biggest success with Raid Cross because we were able to again make it that interactive activity where people initially they came in for the fun of it, right? Because it was pooled with like movie night and a canned food drive. They came in to spend time with their friends, but I feel like they walked out with all this exposure and knowledge on IHL. So I think just by like having events like that, just talking about it towards the end of this year, so many people knew about IHL. Like it came up in normal conversation all the time. And I had people reach out to me on how to join the club next year if they could help lead it. And I was like, wow, it just took a year and a little bit of hard work.
I'd like to follow up on that because I had a similar experience where in fiscal year 23, we did the capture of the flag event and we had people saying, wow, this was really fun. I didn't really know anything about IHL and it's a very random topic, but I'm interested in joining. How do I join? And so a lot of people started joining this year as well. And we have around 30 advocates at my school who are part of this program. And then this year we did a popcorn event where students would get popcorn. We have this friendly security guard who would come in and bring popcorn for the kids during stressful, busy weeks where there were a bunch of exams. And so they started sharing these little notes on these popcorn bags about IHL with their friends, and it just came up in discussion. And so I think seeing the impact of these creative ways to learn about something and gain these skills, I mean, it's something really special with this program that I don't think matches anywhere else, at least where I volunteer.
I want to share my own experience when I went to Longshore Regional Medical Center. I briefly touched over it in our presentation, but so I went to the med surge ward, and there was this lady, and we were talking about IHL, and her husband was on the bed. He was a war veteran, and she was holding this like humanitarian law book, like a novel about humanitarian law. And she was like, I'm reading this book and we need more people like you. And she said, thank you so much for sharing this, and gave me a hug. And I almost cried. It was just the most amazing experience ever. And like that was like the moment where I was like, Yak is so worth it. Like it made me feel so good about being in Yak.
I also have something to share. So I was part of the political discourse team, and there was a presentation given to an 81-year-old atomic bomb survivor and the congressman and other stuff as mentioned. And before that, we met with them to just tell them what we were going to talk. We talked with the atomic bomb survivor, and he just seemed really happy about what we were doing, and it was just really special to see that someone with like he had decades of experience in advocating and stuff, and he was just he was astounded by our work, and it just made me really happy.
Outstanding. Well, thanks to each of you for sharing. Thanks to all of you for coming and listening to this. And I want to say a special thank you to each and every advocate that's on this call and who participated in the larger youth action campaign across the globe. I think you've seen firsthand the sort of meaningful impact that each of these young professionals made. Each of them has a truly bright future ahead of them. And I'm just so proud as the leader of this program to bear witness to the difference that they made in ways small and large. And it really is a testament to the power that this sort of grassroots effort, every lunch event, every speaking engagement in front of classes, every Zoom call, all of it adds together. They're like bricks in a larger wall or a larger building. And the proof is in the community members, the classmates that these advocates reached throughout the year. They are now more knowledgeable and have a better appreciation for IHL than they did before they interacted with these advocates. And that's really the best measure of success that we can have. So thanks to each of you For those that don't know, we are welcoming these summit representatives that you've seen on the call here today to our national headquarters in Washington, D.C. next week. They're going to get to continue and really wrap up their time with the nuclear weapons theme with us, some additional great engagements, and we look forward to welcoming all of them to our nation's capital next week. Thanks for coming, and I hope everyone has a great day.